Hey, what's up, App Mafias? Welcome back. And in this video, let's talk more about the foundations of Kotlin. We will see getters, we will see setters, and we will see companion objects in this video. And these are some of the foundations that you need to develop good Android apps. So let's look at them and let's try to break them down. Let's try to first of all create a simple class, right? Vehicle, right? Always using the example of a vehicle. A very simple class, as you know, and then we'll say we'll need a name of this vehicle from a constructor. Simple as that. I hope this is clear, because I hope you understand what classes are, what objects are. If you haven't watched my previous videos, you can go and watch them. Or I will say vehicle name, a local variable inside of this class of type of string, explicitly defining it as string. I can say that name is equal to the vehicle. Okay, let's try to actually build a getter and a setter here. If you want to build a getter, you can do this. Right, this is a getter, and what it will do is we have to return something because we are getting a value, right? So we need to return something, right? What we'll see is field is the string, right? The field is this variable. As you can see, this is highlighted. We are setting a getter and setter for this particular variable. That's why this string is being passed down to this getter and setter. Okay, we understand where this field is coming from. If this field is basically, as you can see, if I click on here, it's vehicle name. Okay, this is field. Now what we want to do is try to do some kind of stuff on this field. For example, what we'll say is to upper, or I can say uppercase, yes. So whenever we try to get this vehicle name, even if we try to enter the values which are like all small case, it will automatically make it uppercase and return it to you, right? The vehicle name will automatically have that. We don't need to write any function here. It will automatically do it for ourselves. Okay, then what we do is set the value inside of this vehicle name, right? Since we are just getting it, we are not setting it right now. We need to set it as well. So I'll say if value is not equal to empty, what we'll say is field is equal to value. Simple as that. We set our value. As you can see, it returns a string type and it is just returning the vehicle name variable that we declared above here. Simple as that, right? Now let's try to create an object of this particular class. How can we do so? First of all, the class should start with a capital letter. Never you make a class with small letter. Never do that. A senior engineer might kick you out of their company if you do that. Don't do that. Okay. Or, oh my god, what the heck did I do? Or vs. Okay, it was simple as that. Or car. Okay, or car. Type of a vehicle. Okay, vehicle object, and we will say Mustang. Right, Mustang, all small. Right, simple as that. Now what we try to do, since this is a car object, we can access the functions inside of this class, right? So say car. First of all, println car. Oh my god, I hope you can see it now. Yeah, we created a simple object here, vehicle Mustang. Then we try to print it, right? Car dot the vehicle name is the variable that we have. Two uppers is the function we can access. If we say two uppers, what will happen here? As you can see, we got ourselves Mustang, and this is the function that we were accessing. Hopefully this is clear, and you can see that the Mustang is all caps. It means the value that has been set inside of this vehicle name. You understand this thing that we are getting a simple Mustang uppercase from a getter. One important thing is that if we try to actually call dot lowercase here, which is we are setting the value inside of the field. Alright, it means that it should return a lowercase when we try to call two uppers. Right here, when we try to call two uppers, the vehicle name should return the lowercase since the setting of the value is two lowercase. Right, even if we delete this, right, and let's just say uppercase. Okay, uppercase, we transfer uppercase from the get to the set. Okay, and then we try to actually return the vehicle name from the two uppers function, right? It should print Mustang in caps, but as you can see, it does not. Why does it do that? It means that the setter itself is not being called. Why does it do that? In Kotlin, what actually happens is instead of accessing this particular variable, right, you know, since this variable is being initialized directly from this variable, the two uppers is getting this variable from here, not from a setter. So the setter is never being called, right? That's why the uppercase is not actually happening. The setter itself is never being called, right? But a getter allows us to get the value. That's why the field dot uppercase is being called in a getter. That's why the vehicle name is uppercase when we try to do uppercase in getter. Right, let me just copy and paste it here, and as you can see, it will run, and as you see, it will say Mustang in all caps. It's simple as that. It means that the getter is being called, but the setter is not being called. Why is such a case? How can I call a setter inside of this class? We can do this by calling the init function. Now, what is an init function? Init is the part of a class, and it basically initializes the values. Whenever the class runs, it completely initializes the values. Okay, what we'll say, this dot vehicle name is equal to name. Right, now this will call the setter. No, it is not getting called. Okay, it might be due to this thing. Just do field here and say Mustang here. What happens here is, yep, we're getting the Mustang. As you can see, the Mustang is on small case when we actually initialize this dot vehicle name is equal to name. Okay, this is how the setter is called inside of a class. Now, if you want an easier method, what we can do is just remove this name from this constructor. It's because of this constructor passing a variable, the setter is not being called. If you try not to do that, instead we just create a variable inside of our class and try to modify it. We'll say car dot vehicle name is equal to Mustang, right? Mustang, right? And what we'll say is in the setter, do this. Let's just remove this. Okay, now what do we have here? Let's call this. Did I miss something? Oh yeah, okay, the setter directly works here. As you can see, the setter directly works, and if we do not pass anything through a constructor, the setter will automatically work. So this is how the setters and getters work. If we try to pass it through a constructor, the setter will not be called, but when there's a variable that is being modified directly into the class, the setter will always be called. So that's how the setter works. The getter is used to get the values. That's why it is always called, whether you pass it through a constructor or whether you do not pass it through a constructor. Why do we even need getters and setters? Let's try to look at that. This vehicle name is not being exposed, right, to the vehicle. The getters and setters are not being exposed. The whole functionality of the class is not being exposed outside of the class, right? Even if we create an object of vehicle, we cannot change the inner settings of the inner properties of this vehicle, right? It means that this properties, this state of this vehicle variable has been saved and encapsulated inside of the class. It cannot be changed unless we decide to actually change the functionality inside the class. It means the whole code has been separated. Now this is the importance of getters and setters. I hope you understand that. We have completely transferred the logic from outside the class to inside of the class, and there is no way to access this logic except going inside of the class and changing it. Hopefully this makes sense. One more important concept that I want you to understand is that since the values of this vehicle are being changed only inside of this class, the developer will automatically know where these fields are being set and where these fields are being modified. We don't have to come back and try to look it into some other function, try to look into some other class if the vehicle name has been changed or not. I know that it can only be changed and modified inside of the vehicle class. So it has been encapsulated, and the concern of this vehicle name has been separated completely from other code. Hopefully this makes sense, and hopefully this is clear why do we even use getter and setters. I hope you understand this thing. So now let's focus on companion objects inside of a class. Okay, let's try to first of all create this companion object, right? How can we create a companion object? As you can see, just write companion object, and what we can do is create a function called number of tires of type, and it returns int because it returns the number of tires, and it will just return 4, right? Simple as that. First, of course, it needs to be a function number of tires, and it will return an int here, right? Now what is a companion object? Now a companion object is a type of an object. We are actually creating the object of this vehicle without actually creating an object. It means that this function can be called just by the instance of this vehicle. We don't need to actually create an object of vehicle, right? Let's just comment this, right? there is no object of vehicle. As you can see, this is a class object and there is no vehicle object right here. So how can we access this number of tires without creating an object of vehicle? How can we do so? By companion object. It automatically creates an anonymous object for us and we can access this number of tires right here. Let's try to say vehicle. This is the class dot number of tires. As you can see, it can be accessed and it will simply print 4 for us. As you can see, it simply print 4 for us, right? Hopefully you understand this thing. Let's cut this, and so as you can see, it says 4 for us. When you try to print it, it gives us 4. The vehicle dot number of tires is being directly accessed without even creating the object of vehicle, right? Hopefully you understand why do we even need companion objects. The companion objects can be named, right, by just number of tires, right? Simple as that. This will still give us the number of tires function and return us 4. It's just the name of this companion object. Other than that, usually these are anonymous and the name itself is called companion. So this is how companion objects are being created. Now, for example, what if we press on this object? As you can see, companion object. If we try to explore on this, it will say public companion object of vehicle. If we press on it, it will automatically point to the reference of vehicle, right? The object itself is being created inside of this class. Isn't it super interesting? The companion object, and we will explore function number of tires and returns number of int and prints it as 4 right here. Hopefully you can see 4. Yeah, so this is what companion object is. Hopefully getters and setters are clear, companion objects are clear. So these were some foundations that we as developers forget. And there's one more important concept that I want to introduce is that number of tires right here, the function inside of the companion object is actually singleton in nature. It means there is no more instances of this number of tires. It will only be one instance. Okay, even whenever we try to create this vehicle reference, it will always point to the one reference of this object because itself it is an object. I hope you understand this thing. This is a singleton object, right? It cannot be some other object as well. There is some other object as well. No, this is a singleton object. I hope you understand this thing. It will always point to one single object because it's an object that is being created itself. It's singleton in nature. I hope you understand getters and setters. I hope you understand companion objects, and I hope everything is clear. For now, this is it, and I'll catch you next time. Bye bye.